Hello everyone and welcome back once again to Cauldrons of War Stalingrad. I'm here with another bonus episode brought to you by my Patreon supporter, Boomnerau. And with that said, let's continue. I want to once again start here in the north where we can do barely anything, but I guess we got the 50th in a bit of trouble there. Things are, well, I don't know. I want to actually start attacking though. Oh sweet, we just killed those guys. Cost me one tank, but I don't care. That went very well. Well, then I also have the 53rd Army. That didn't do much. Well, we killed one of them. So that's not too bad, actually. I mean, they can get these guys back to the front. I don't know how powerful these guys are, but northwest, they put the second in reserve, so they have only these two up front here now. We lost 2 cohesion, they lost on infantry 2. That's at least something again. And now Kalinin, still with 6. These guys are in reserve. So these guys are the most powerful. Reserve refits. Do I not have additional infantry? I do not. I only have 1 artillery. That's not really that important. Could attack them once. Let's attack with these guys too. They lost 1 infantry. Let's do it again. Nothing there. That's fine. In the Western Theater, they entrenched the 9th Army. These guys are in the back, being weak. So let's start with shelling. Now I want to start attacking. They already lost some, at least there. Let's just keep up the pressure here. I'm mostly losing cohesion, but they're actually losing other stuff now as well. They still have, you know, a lot, obviously. Apparently, yeah, they're still chock full, but I did get something done at least. Brienne's front, they attack with 2nd Panzer. We lost 1 infantry, but I'll be damned if I cannot get some serious firepower there. These guys have nothing though. 2 tanks. That's it. I'll attack it. I lost tanks. They lost an infantry. They lost 2 infantry there. I just lost some cohesion. If I refit them, go to the front, they can do a breakthrough. We lost a lot more than they did in that endeavor. Well, let's have you go to the front too then. In the southwestern front, they did air bombardment against that tank army. Dead. Only lost tanks against the 5th Romanian Corps. Unfortunate. In the Caucasus, generally not a whole lot seems to be happening still. And since I don't have any troops, there's nothing I can do with those points either. I can't help but think that what happened in the Caucasus is just... And then also south, it's just very weird, everything that happened here. Reserve, refit to the front, killed 51st as well. That's what they did. Well, these guys are quite powerful. Second guards. I do have enough trucks as well to give them to refit, but can't do that right now. Third guards. Where should I send them? Well, I can send them to Don Volga Isthmus. All three. That's rather trivial. Guess I'll send them to the Stalingrad front. There's nothing else I can do. A bullheaded general. As the forces in the center either do not advance fast enough or are contained by the Germans, Zhukov realizes that he's losing momentum of the Mars offensive. Roaming the battlefields to encourage and threaten the commanders, he's relaunching the offensive everywhere at the cost of horrific human losses. At this rate, the Red Army will have difficulty keeping pace. Moreover, Zhukov called in officers who are sick, wounded, or too old and throws into the furnace little or no trained recruits. Barely disembarked from their native Central Asia. Stalin is divided. These hard battles affix the enemy force in the center, but at what cost? I can either stop the carnage or encourage Zhukov. I'm gonna encourage Zhukov. We already know the historical choices of that. Start up here. Apparently they did nothing. I'm going to continue with these night attacks that don't do anything. At the Volkov front, they sent the 12th Panzer Division from their reserve as a backup. They might not be super effective. These guys, it's also a bit unclear as to how powerful they are. That's a problem now, because now that means that these guys are back up in full force. They also got that 10th Corps refit. They only have Azul infantry now out in the open. Problem is, I really need to refit 11th Army. If I shell, that doesn't really do anything. I need to put them in the reserve and then refit and then pull them back later. Kalinin front. Lost one infantry. And that's about it. They still have the 9th Corps. Not sure what that's gonna do. Put you in reserve. At Bryansk, 2nd Panzer Army can just refit at a moment's notice whenever they feel like. I just kind of feel that's not fair, but they lost one artillery, one infantry, and one cohesion. My unit here isn't doing super well either. Yeah, we just lost the cohesion. That's it. That kind of sucks. Alright, in the west, let's see here. Both of these are... I mean, these guys are way in the back now, trying to retreat or something. That made them lose again 1 infantry. 1 tank. It's crazy how they still have plus 10 in terms of infantry after these attacks. Wouldn't have thought that they would have that much, but... I guess they do. You would, why can you not attack? Oh, is heroic charge? Sure. They're dead. And then let's progress. The Red Army has an important bridge in a wooded region conducive to camouflaging its forces. Okay, well. Okay. But I don't have any more points. Yeah. Okay. Let's dig in the Novorossiysk sailors and not do anything with them. Then here nothing happened. Here nothing happened. Playing against the AI in this regard is just very weird. And here the attack with 6 lost a tank. We lost that. But with armored vehicle is available even if the numerous held in reserve, but in this case some of the tanks may break down simply by urging to the combat zone. You would be surprised to know how poorly reliable were those things. Yeah. I only have 1 for now. Let's get these guys back. Again, 4 points is not a lot. December 10. Okay. Refit. Breakthrough. So like, oh, okay, this is... I mean, it's looking a bit weird, but fine. So apparently 3rd Romanian Corps had a bit more than I would have expected. And so another heroic charge here. And they lost those, and they still have that Romanian Cavalry Corps in there. I mean, it's getting quite late in terms of time. Let's just move up here. So Reserve 50th and refit. Can only do night attacks here. And at Volkov, they attack with 38 pen score into 8th army. That didn't do anything. Which means once again... I can attack a little bit. They lost one of their tanks. They're pinned. Doesn't mean much. I send these guys back to the front. Killed the Azul infantry. Again, at least it's something, but they still have so many reserves up here that that in itself is not going to win me the battle. 4, so let's refit. Go to the front. Keep assaulting those guys. Doesn't seem to go very well against this entrenched unit regardless. Takes a bit of luck too there. Seems like they didn't do a whole lot with 9th Army. What do I have in the west? I still have quite a few units there too. None of my infantry is doing very well. I have some reserves. But I have so little forces, or so little points generally, that sending these guys out, it tends to take just too many points. Even these guys, like I would have to build them up and things like that. It just takes very long. So again, they lost 1 infantry in that attack. They have 8 to 12. Okay. And that didn't do anything at all. Okay. Casually refitting them. They lost 1 artillery. Again, at least it's something. Got one of them in a cauldron. Crap. Let's keep pressing it. You certainly need to refit, but I don't have time for that. No reserves. Alright, that didn't help. I got it split, but both of these are still quite powerful, I suppose. At the Stalingrad front here, they got the disputed attacking here with the 6th Army, losing some tanks and then digging in. Well, if I can double refit, go to the front and assault. I apparently get to kill the Romanian 1st Cavalry. Well, that's something. South. Apparently they attacked. Impressive. Hedgehog defense and in reserve. I mean, they also didn't do anything here. Can do night attacks. This area is just straight up stuck. It's weird because the AI certainly did have a lot more troops there. I really wonder how. Saturn, it is time to unleash the second phase of our operations in the south. A gigantic pincer must go forth and take Rostov, locking the Axis forces in the south in a huge encirclement. Fascist forces are collapsing and have no more reserves. Give them the coup de grace. Southwest front plus is 6, and then also plus 3 for this turn. Bridgeheads on the Don can be turned into Saturn operations. The units on the Don bridgeheads and in the reserves of the southwest front are liberated by the Stavka. Okay. Leningrad. Just supplies. Fine. Volkov. They sent the 28th. Yeah, okay. There's 1 infantry, 1 cohesion loss. Second Corps back at the front. I have to refit these guys. If I want to attack with them, there's no other way to do it. And... I mean, I'm just wasting a lot of turns here. Nothing. At the west, to put 9th Army in reserve, which means they're still at the front. I'm not quite sure how that works. All my units are pretty much exhausted. Let's see. If I have something decent to send, which it doesn't really seem to be, 434. Well, 16th Army will be doing pretty well this way. And they killed the 46th Panzer Corps. Okay. Well, that's something. It's not much, but... Then at Bryansk, they resupplied 53rd. I guess these guys just straight up got out. Reserve. Refit. Restore communications. Reserve. Refit. Go to the front. Couldn't really do a whole lot there. They attack with the Romanian Cavalry Corps, the 5th Tank Army, which just got itself surrounded like that. Somehow. And here they attack with the 5th Corps, which I'm actually a bit surprised it's not this weak, or not destroyed yet. Let's look what the Southwestern Front does have. Let's send these to Uranus Northern Jaw. Kill these. And progress. Progress. 26 is pretty good, so. The Red Army reached Kalach, surging into the rear of the Wehrmacht and threatening its communication lines. Can the Germans save the day? So, like, they're still just kind of attacking. I guess they're not encircled or anything, but... The Cheer Donuts Drive. The Wehrmacht needs mobile delaying battles, or leads mobile delaying battles as the Red Army pushes towards the donuts. On its way lies the Tatsinskaya airport, the most advanced airport in supplying and supporting the most in need German armies in the Don Band. They have Holit Army Detachment. Well, let's immediately go and encircle them that way. If I can get this done quickly, well, we'll see how this goes. I mean, it's going interestingly enough, at least. They lost an infantry on the 14th Motorized Corps. These guys are not doing very well. Finally, they lost some infantry and cohesion, I guess. But overall, that was not a great attack. They killed the sailors, so they'll be able to just move in there. I cannot send forces over to that location because there's just straight up nothing there. And it would take too many points to send something, so it's a bit weird at that. Okay, that's fine. Night attacks, don't do anything. Then at Volkov, they put them in reserve. These guys are back up to full strength. I mean, these guys must be nearly dead. They have to be. Because otherwise, I mean, kind of trouble, actually. Ah, fuck me. They just cannot get through. They lost a little bit, but not enough. Once again, in the west, they sent, wow, 4th Army. That's their biggest reserve army that they have, really. That's harsh. That means there will be no breakthrough there. Let's put this 1st tank army to a bit of use. Took me an entire turn. But, and then here they only resupplied that unit. I'll just keep attacking. They're not looking very well there, so that's good at least. If they just keep attacking that, doing something like this. Okay, so how many trucks do you have? Only 40. If I send 5th Shock Army to the Cheer Donuts Drive, oh, they're immediately pinned. It's gonna be like that, huh? Okay, they are dead at least. Mobile elements of the Red Army reached the Tatsinskaya airport, wreaking havoc among the Junkers 52s trying to evacuate the base in emergency. That took a lot. Wow. 6th Army and refit. Those guys are attacking. So they have 14th Motorized Corps up front now. Well, also I have 9 planes here. I don't mind airlifting, despite me losing planes. Great. I always like it when the only thing that happens to me losing tanks against the Italians, in this case. Yeah. This is really stupid because... Right, just... A matter of trust. People of the Caucasus have always been reluctant to accept the Russian and then Soviet presence. Some villages have welcomed the German army and then even actively cooperated with them by fronting scouts and supplies. The coming arrival of the Germans also seems to give wings to the Chechen and English bandits led by Iskra, Railov and Sharipov. In the very heart of the Red Army, the peoples of the Caucasus pose problems, and the Georgian and Azerbaijani units are considered by the commanders to be unreliable and prone to desertion. For Stalin, it is time to send Beria to restore order in the Caucasus. But how should Beria behave? Either act with tact, or should be merciless. I'll just act with tact. As Comrade Beria says, it is not always necessary to use a weapon to speak with bandits. The leader of the NKVD intends to regain the trust of local populations by attacking corrupt administrations. The first Secretary of Dagestan could well be the first personality to fall. A general amnesty campaign is launched and financial aid is even offered to local populations. This term offensive is however curbed by an age-old mistrust of Moscow and the inevitable reprisals that the NKVD must lead in its fight against the bandits. 3 NKVD units appear in the reserves of the Caucasus. Carnage at Tatsinskaya. Forward elements of the Red Army stormed the Tatsinskaya military airport, pushing aside the Germans. Totally surprised by a rapid advance. Hundreds of enemy planes were destroyed. Sometimes they were still even on the wagons, bringing them to the front. Even if many enemy planes were able to flee, it is obvious that we have just dealt a terrible blow to Luftwaffe, which will no longer be able to support German troops further east. They lose 3 planes. They're disorganized. East of Tatsinskaya lose cohesion. If the Stalingrad pocket exists, the unit locked in it gaining 3 points of tiredness. Soviet unit gains the isolation trait. Glory to the heroes. Well, I wonder if they put a unit there. I hope not. They did. Second Hungarian and some Romanian units. Yeah. Oh, now I have 3rd Mountain Rifle Corps. Well, let's send them to the coastal road to Sochi. Actually, all of them. I wonder... Like, these guys are exhausted stretch lines and stragglers. Let's assault them. They lose 2 artillery. That's good, I guess. Okay, well. I'm surprised they hold out that well, but fine. Biggest problem is that I don't have anything like that, but If I go to the front, they already lose everything. Okay. That didn't matter that much to them even. But let's send these to the Bukhar bridgehead then. Because I would need to refit and such these guys too. Let's just see what I can do there for the moment. How can it be that I'm attacking rear guard units? Super weird. Alright, so we got these guys, but none of my units have anything there anymore at Bryansk, so if anything, let's just get them back. All of those two are retreating and these guys are overrun. Then in the west, because this is a bit of a trouble. The problem is that I cannot just go and take on that army, or even both armies like that. That is actually a serious problem. They did shelling against the 11th. No, these attacks are really getting me nowhere anymore now. They just run into a wall. And, you know, for the Leningrad front, I do have units, but I cannot refit these, so it doesn't really matter, sadly. Walls of fire. By experimenting with ever greater concentrations of artillery, we're able to devastate with increasing precision and fastness enemy troop concentrations. Imagine the power we could unleash by simultaneously firing thousands of cannons. General Voronov thinks that he is able to completely crush the adversary and annihilate his will to fight, thanks to these giant concentrations of artillery. All you have to do now is to put his theories into practice. For a single command point, all infantry units able to bombing will, you can unleash artillery fire across the width of a front. It's only available when you start a new operation. The art of concentrating and coordinating large quantities of guns was taken to a high level by the Soviets during the Battle of Stalingrad. Such artillery preparations were then used during Operation Koltso, and then against the Hungarians, each time with good results. Giving the Soviets the possibility to open their offensives with such an artillery action allows the doctrinal progress of the Red Army to be taken into account in the game. As historically, the player will have to take the time to bring to the front enough units well equipped with guns and supply them copiously with ammunition in order to make the most of this action. Take advantage of the fact that frontline static operations enable the ammunition supply score of your units to reach 3, because after your artillery preparation, your units must be able to advance and crush what remains of the enemy. Okay, well, we'll see here. What did they do? They attacked 5th Shock Army. I'm genuinely surprised that they're able to do this. But the biggest problem is just straight up that I don't have like serious forces there. And then jeez, now I have only 2 left. Yeah, well, I could only really like shell them there. Things are going far slower than I might potentially like. And now they're back up to good strength, unfortunately, as well. Ah, okay, that's what it does. Well, they only lose in artillery. This these operations sure do give trouble. Maybe I shouldn't have sent these units here, but not. I mean, they're gonna lose fuel too, man. Well, lesson learned. These guys didn't have any cohesion to begin with, so. The last tank, they lose also 1 tank again. Let's attack. For them to lose cohesion, it's useless because, you know, they didn't have any in the first place. Oh, great. Now they send the last of their divisions to this part. That's weird. I'll keep shelling. And I tried attacking these guys before. That didn't particularly work well. Now both those are in reserve. Just a resupply. Nope. Operation Iskra. The Stalingrad region is still cut off from the rest of the USSR. The Stavka studied a new offensive aimed at creating a passage to the besieged city. Construction teams are already ready to set up a rail link as soon as a corridor is opened. The enemy is weakened. It is undoubtedly possible to eliminate the whole army group north by making the Northwest Front doing a maneuver that will allow it to approach Leningrad from the south. But perhaps the means necessary for this offensive could be better used to strengthen our operations in the south. The strategic supply capacity of the Voronezh and southwestern fronts increased by 1. The reserves and material of the western front are allocated to the Voronezh front. There is no Voronezh front. So this is gonna be a problem. And wow, they even decided that they were going to attack. Those guys did nothing, and then here second Hungarian attacked, refit back to the front, and then they did shelling. What about in this part? Okay. I'm gonna wrap things up though. I want to thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please do consider leaving a like, comment, or subscribe. Special shout out to my Patreon supporters: Spooner Out, Dutch Bastard, Swords, Mandingo, Tomstoff Trillion, and all the other ones as well. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time. Bye bye.